My name's Alex Barth. I'm joined by Michael Longi and Mike Petralia, and we're recapping a busy week for the Patriots after bringing in some new names last weekend. They brought back some of their own guys as well. Patrick Chung was extended, while Adrian Waddle, Marquis Flowers, and Matt Slater were scooped up off the free agent market. So, guys, not necessarily the biggest names, but definitely key pieces coming back to Foxborough in 2018.
Love the re-upping of Matthew Slater, if for no other reason. He's back in the locker room for 2 years. I think given the transitionary period that the Patriots are approaching anyway, you've got to have people in there that know the locker room, that know the people, that know the players, the coaches, what have you. And I think Slater is one of those guys. Yes, he's getting up there, 32 years of age, but he's been a core special teamer, and he knows what is expected, especially on that special. And I think to have him back when, he made a visit to the Pittsburgh Steelers, eyebrows started to be raised a little bit, like he's not really leaving for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is he? Because I think that would leave a big leadership void in there. And certainly whatever it might have been to drive up the price, get a few more bones in the barrel, if you will. But whatever, the final pieces of that deal got done, and that's the most important thing for the Patriots and Slater. And Slater's very happy in New England. That was my biggest takeaway on re-signing Slater.
It's kind of becoming the annual rite of passage, right? Donta Hightower visited Pittsburgh last year, Matthew Slater this year. Who knows who's next? How about Michael Longi? Let me ask you about Adrian Waddle, Patriots left tackle. Obviously a huge hole. People seem to be split on whether he's the guy or not. It seems as right now he's the starting left tackle going into camp, but can he be that guy?
I'll be honest, I'm kind of split on it too. I'm not really sure. I mean, he showed flashes in some cleanup time last year. Obviously, Nate Solder, I believe, missed 1 or 2 games last year. And Adrian Waddle, he filled in admirably, and that's fine. He's never struck me as a, starting left tackle talent in the NFL, but then again, we haven't seen too much of him. So I'm not really sure. I think you got to give him a shot. I mean, right now you have to give him a shot because he's one of your only guys out there that can do it. I'm not sure if Matt Tobin, the new signing as well, plays left tackle or not, but maybe there's a competition that's going to start there. Maybe they'll draft a left tackle. We still don't know. I still have my eye on that kid Colton Miller, coming up on the end of the end of the first round there. That might be a guy to go after. So who knows? I think at this point, yeah, you're right. He's the starting left tackle, definitely, because he's the guy on the team that has the most experience playing in that spot. But I got to be honest, I'm split as well. I'm not really entirely sure if he is the starting guy or not.
And sorry, Trags, go ahead.
Here's how I would read this. They're not going to probably move Marcus Cannon because he has become so comfortable at right tackle. The old argument, you're not going to weaken 2 positions to try and fill the void left by one starting player. So you leave Marcus Cannon at right tackle. And what you have is, obviously, Adrian Waddle, Matt Tobin, Tony Garcia, who obviously they put a lot of stock in, literally, in 2017 NFL draft. And then whoever they draft this year. That's 4 different options you're looking at for the left tackle position. And the Patriots have always had confidence that Dante Scarnecchia will figure things out. And if you have those 4 options, I think the Patriots will just, get their feet wet in minicamp and training camp and try to figure it out on the run. And they figure it all washes out in the end. It all work out in the end.
The other name I'd be remiss if we didn't mention is Marquis Flowers. The outside linebacker was brought in primarily as a special teamer, came on strong at the end of the last season, had 3.5 sacks down the stretch, had another in the playoffs, and one of these just kind of all-around versatile guys. He can play off the edge. He can play a little bit off the ball, some coverage. They moved him to the middle at times in obvious patching situations. But a guy that can do a lot. He adds linebacker depth because of how many different spots he can play on the field. And a guy that's really seemed to really seems to have bought into Bill Belichick's system and Bill Belichick's style with the transitionary period they're going through. Those guys, you can't have enough of them in the locker room. So to get him back on a 1-year deal, it was, I believe, 2 and change. Right. And seeing the deal that Barkevius Mingo got, I think Flowers is a better player. I thought Flowers was going to get substantially more, but it was actually comparable. So I think the Patriots, in that case, of all these signings, that may have been the best player for the price they paid, I think, that they brought back this weekend.
Totally agree. And I think Marquis Flowers really made the most of his opportunity when Shea McClellan went down early in the season, and people forget that Shea McClellan was a big part of the 2016 Super Bowl champions, and had played very, very well that year, but kind of fell off the radar this year because of injury. And then it was obviously Dante Hightower going down with injury, and you have those two players. It was Marquis Flowers helping to fill up some of the depth in that linebacker room, and I thought he did very, very well. And I think, to your point, the way he came on strong late in the regular season, and then the way he looked in the playoffs, he looked very, very comfortable in the 2 games at Gillette Stadium, very impactful. So I think he earned his 1-year extension here in New England.
Real quick here, guys, before – sorry, Mike, real quick. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say I totally agree with what you guys said. I mean, I think he's another guy who came in out of necessity, had to play, and was able to, make a little bit of an impact. I think with, Hightower coming back, and they're likely going to draft, a young talented linebacker early in this draft, I think it's going to push him even harder to make some, to be more competitive and to get even better. And I think it's ultimately going to help him be a better player in 2018.
So there's still a couple guys left out there from last year's team that remain unsigned. Cameron Fleming, James Harrison's a name that's been talked about to come back. Are the Patriots done re-signing their own players, or do you think one of those two guys, maybe somebody else, comes back to Foxborough in time for training camp or the season?
I'd take them both back if it's fiscally feasible to do. I think that James Harrison brings that experience factor, and he was impactful in those last couple of games that he played for the Patriots. I mean, he came in week 15, played a couple of games, and he was impactful in the playoffs, whether the numbers show or not. I mean, if you go back and watch that film, he was getting to the quarterback. I don't care if he's 40 or not. That man will run you over. I follow him on Instagram. You see those workout programs that he does every single day. That guy is an animal. He will always be one. He's just a fierce competitor. I think, and you obviously that Dante Hightower has the injury issues. There are other guys who have there's durability issues there. James Harrison's a guy who doesn't get hurt very often either. So that could be a guy to keep. And then Cameron Fleming, again, he's another guy who has filled in really admirably on the offensive line. I think having that swing tackle backup guy is pretty important, but he might get a little too much money on the open market.
I would guess, guys, that on those two players, obviously this could all change. They could sign both of them in the next couple of weeks, but I think a lot of that's going to change and hinge rather on how they do in the draft. And if they feel confident with who they draft and they're going to move on from those two players because the price isn't worth it, then they move on. I think it's more likely they bring Cameron Fleming back just because of the depth issues at the tackle position on the offensive line. James Harrison's an interesting cat because he showed me he can still actually drop back in coverage in a couple of the games that the Patriots played in the playoffs. He was not just going after the quarterback. They asked him to do a lot, and I thought he did a lot, and he's going to be 40 years old. I mean, he's just a freak of nature. And, if the price is right, they'll bring him back. Otherwise, I would expect them to move on.
Well, I want to remind everybody that this roundtable has been brought to you by Hims. Guys, did you know that it's easier to keep the hair that you have than replace the hair that you've lost? Thanks to science now, baldness is optional, and 4hims.com is a one-stop shop for all your hair loss care. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat hair loss. All you have to do is go to 4hims.com. That's FORHIMS.com. /report, and you'll get a $5 trial period while supplies last. Again, that's 4hims, FORHIMS.com /report for $5 trial to help keep those luscious locks in place. So for more Patriots coverage, you can check us out on the YouTube channel, CLNS Media, and on our Twitter @Patriots CLNS. The Patriots continue to bring in more free agents and head towards the draft. We'll have all the coverage you need right here on CLNS Media. For Michael Angi and Mike Petraglia, my name's Alex Barth. Thanks for watching.